Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning, everybody, and welcome. We're just going to wait a couple more minutes before we begin so that we allow the other people that have confirmed, which is about 28 people, to just get into the webinar on time and enjoy it from the beginning. So thank you so much for your patience. Okay. Good morning, welcome. We're just waiting a few more minutes so that we can begin when we've got more of our people that have confirmed. Thank you for your patience. In the meantime, if you can all just switch off your microphones and your videos, I'd be very grateful. Thank you. Good morning. We'll be starting in the next couple of minutes. Thank you for your patience. Right, Olivia, I think with your permission, let's begin. And as people join us, I'll just let them in. So good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the European Chamber Wednesday, Webinar Wednesday. And we are very pleased to have you on board. And today we'll be discussing traveling during the COVID pandemic by Air France-KLM. As you all know, traveling has changed in totality. Our lives have changed in totality because of COVID, how we run our business, how we run our personal lives. And I know that we are all wanting to get back to what used to be normal. It will never be the same, but we want to get going. We want to start traveling and having our holidays. So without further ado, a very special word of welcome to our guest speaker from Air France-KLM, Olivia Wadi. It's really good to have you here. Also, about 4 of our board members has confirmed, and I want to welcome them as well. To the members of the Spanish, Italian, and French Chamber of Commerce, welcome. And obviously, I cannot continue without welcoming my counterparts in the Swiss Chamber and the Belgian Chamber. Some house rules before we begin. Please keep your microphones on mute and your videos also off while the presentation is going. If you have a question during the presentation, either type it in on the chat or put your hand up, and then Olivia can address you. Olivia, are you quite happy with that, or do you want to leave towards the end?
Yeah, we can do it towards the end. Then we can go through all the questions so that everybody can get to hear everything and without, distracting everyone.
Excellent. Thank you so much. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think let's begin without further ado. Over to you, Olivia. Thank you.
Thank you, Manuela, and thank you everybody for joining us on your webinar Wednesday. It is an absolute honor to be invited to participate and to have a chat with all of you guys, just so that maybe we are able to answer some questions or maybe clarify some issues that may concern you, if you're looking at wanting to travel. So my presentation is literally drawn from best practices that we as Air France-KLM have put together. So, as Manuela said, since March 2020, our lives were turned upside down. Everything that we thought was normal and regular is no longer normal and regular. We've literally had to start all over again, and we're all figuring it out as we go. So, as Air France-KLM, we've, been going through the paces. We've had our fingers burnt. We've done well in some things. We've figured out some things. And as we go, we actually have now started to put together best practice on how we operate as an airline, and also how we assist passengers to navigate the travel space as and when they are traveling. Okay, Sean, next slide. So let's get on with it. So let's go on to the next slide. Okay, so health and safety is a priority because the pandemic now has, made us all very paranoid. We all need to be mindful of each other while we go through this. Hopefully very soon we'll go back to a space where things are somewhat back to normal, whatever normal will be in the next 18 months or so. So for Air France and KLM, we take the health and safety of our travelers, our crew, very, very seriously, both on the ground and in the air. So, we do have stringent measures in place from the start of the flight. We started this from repatriation, which was last year when we were doing those repatriation flights for EU members or other nationals who desperately needed to go home when they were stranded here in South Africa. And our health and safety measures are implemented across the entire Air France KLM networks, and we service about 300 destinations across the globe. So wherever you are on an Air France KLM, these are the practices that you will encounter on an Air France KLM flight. Next slide, Sean. Okay, we have also won an award for health and safety measures. In June of this year, it's the Apex Diamond Award Health and Safety Measure, because we've really gone above and beyond, because it's the only way that people can begin to travel. It's the only way we can begin to revive the travel industry and the tourism industry more broadly. So we've won this Apex Diamond Award. It's an international award certified by all airlines and health and safety measures, including WHO and all those sort of people. So we're very proud of this because of all the efforts that we have put together. Next slide. Okay, so when we are beginning our journey, so before you even begin to make a booking or issue a ticket or get your ticket sorted out, there are things now, there's a checklist that all of us actually have to go through. So before departure, you need to understand what the travel requirements and restrictions are for your destination and transit country. So if your destination country is New York, if your destination country is the UK and you're transiting via Amsterdam or Paris on Air France or KLM, then that means you need to understand what are the rules to transit Amsterdam and Paris. What are the rules when I arrive in the UK, for example? And on our website, on our Air France-KLM website, the requirements are available on a website called traveldoc.aero. It's available to everybody. So now this traveldoc.aero website, it is what our airport staff use at check-in to double check to make sure that any passenger who is boarding the flight is permitted to travel. You guys can make use of it. You can just type in your search engines traveldoc.aero, and you should be able to get first-hand information from that destination country and that transit country. And this doesn't apply just to Air France-KLM. It applies across the globe. So basically all the countries and all the officials from these countries who update the new rules and restrictions, they have updated whatever their rules are to that destination and that transit area. You have to download and complete forms. Most countries now, before you enter, you need to fill out health declaration forms and why you are, to justify or reasons why you are entering that country. So all of those forms, you need to download them. Usually those you find on embassy websites. You need to fill them out and make sure either you submit them online or carry them with you to the airport. Then before you travel, when you are packing your bags, don't just pack your clothes and your suitcase. You now need to make sure you've got face masks, paper towels, hand sanitizers, because these are now mandatory wherever you go, anywhere across the globe. And also, again, please check local restrictions of your destination. So if you're going on holiday, check with the embassy. If you have family there, check with your family members. What are the rules? What must I know? Is there curfews? Is there lockdown? Is there quarantine or self-isolation? What is the process? It's really up to you as the traveler to protect yourself and inform yourself prior to getting to the airport or even purchasing the ticket. And then with us, we have, and I think with most airlines now, we've now encouraged passengers to go and do check-in online. And checking in online is the best thing, because then you are not touching any surface. Everything is on your phone. You can download your boarding pass on the phone, or you can print it, and you are in control, and whatever you've got, there's not a whole bunch of people touching it and exposing you to the virus. And then finally, please check all your documents, all your health forms. Make sure you've got your PCR tests. PCR tests are now the norm. If you think of getting onto an aircraft, the first thing you have to have is a PCR test and antigen test and any other health requirements that you need. So that's what you do before you leave the house. Once you've purchased your ticket and you're good to go, you've gone through this checklist and you're ready to go, what happens at the airport? At the airport, whether it's OR Tambo, whether it's Amsterdam Airport or Cape Town Airport or Charles de Gaulle Airport in Paris, face masks are mandatory at all times. And physical distancing measures have to be adhered to. If you just look down as you're walking through the airport, you will see all the floor markings and signages across the airport. So please, when you get to any airport, familiarize yourself, just figure out what is going on, and usually it's all self-explanatory. Counters and self-service kiosks now have protective screens, and they're regularly sanitized, whether it's here in South Africa or across Europe. So that is now standard practice. And then in terms of catering, for us at Air France-KLM, we have adopted our catering offer and services. We have adapted them so that they meet the requirements of health and safety protocols under the COVID-19 virus pandemic. At South Africa, at Joburg Airport and at Cape Town Airport, the slow lounge has reopened. So if you have access to the lounge, you may go in there. But again, remember, the lounges, you have to adhere to the rules and the protocols of each lounge. The same with our lounge is in Paris and at Schiphol Airport in Amsterdam. Those lounges are all open. Again, please adhere to the rules. Hand sanitizers and dispensers are available at every entrance. And obviously there is a contactless body temperature checks, I think across every place you enter now. So that's now standard. So be mindful that those are the things that are going to be required of you and requested. So don't be afraid or alarmed if somebody says, I need to take your temperature. It's just now standard procedure across the board. Next slide, Sean. Okay. Okay, so on board, so now you've done your check-in, you've packed, you're ready to go. Now it's time for you to get onto the aircraft. The boarding zone, most of what is now happening at the airport is at the boarding gate, instead of everybody just crowding at the gate and, you know, going through, what we're now doing is it's now in smaller groups. Again, this is to adhere to social distancing measures. So we are in small groups, and also we are now zoning people. So we maybe put the economy class people in one section, the business class people in another section, and so on and so forth. So you will find that this is now standard across the board. Surgical masks are mandatory at all times and must be changed every 3 hours. So when you are packing, I know a lot of us have got material or cloth face masks. But when you're flying, because you have to change your face mask every 3 hours, we would recommend you buy yourself a pack of those surgical masks that you just put on while you're on board, and you have to change it every 3 hours. This is for your own safety and comfort, and also for those around you. The cabin air is renewed every 3 minutes. We use what are called HEPA filters that trap 99% of the particles. So basically, there is fresh air coming in from outside every 3 minutes. So the air within the aircraft circulates from outside the aircraft into the aircraft every 3 minutes. Again, for your health, safety, and comfort. We've now had to adapt all our aircrafts. And I think all aircrafts across the board, this is what you will find. All aircrafts are cleaned daily and regularly for disinfections and regular disinfections, vacuuming of carpets, seats, and head covers. So every time the aircraft lands at any destination, so if the aircraft, before it departs Amsterdam or Paris, it's cleaned, disinfected, vacuumed. When it arrives in South Africa, the same process happens again, because we need to look after yourselves and our staff. And on board, we have, with Air France, we have personal sanitary kits and also corona kits should we pick up that somebody may be ill on board. So we have all of those places, all of those systems in place, again, for your safety, health, and comfort while you're on board. And where possible, we do block seats between passengers. It's not always possible, but we do have a look and see, is it possible for this flight? Or some flights, it doesn't happen. But on most flights, we do try and block seats wherever we can. And catering, again, that has now been restored. It's, full hot meals as before, and drinks and snacks. Those are back. Those are all back again. Again, they are sealed. They are prepared with the highest hygiene protocols being adhered to. And we also use disposable cups and plates and cutlery. When you arrive at your destination, when you disembark, before we would all get up and we would all rush to the front of the aircraft. That is not happening anymore. Now what we're doing is we're going through row by row. So what used to take maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 10, 20 minutes, 15 minutes to get off the flight, it's not going to happen anymore. We're taking a little bit longer because we need to keep that social distance. Again, your face mask or your surgical mask must be on at all times. And in terms of getting your bags at the baggage arrival hall, there is signage and floor markings, again, for social distancing, to make sure that you guys are always safe and you're not, they're not people, rushing to the carousel to get the bags. You have to keep a social distance. Next slide, Sean. Okay, so I'm just going to run through quickly the testing requirements for the Netherlands. I'm focusing on the Netherlands and on France because we are Air France, which is the national carrier, which is the airline that goes via France, and also KLM, which is the airline that goes via the Netherlands and Amsterdam. So this is what is required if you do happen to buy a ticket on Air France and KLM. Please, by all means, if you're flying on another carrier, whether you're going via the Middle East or via another EU city, please double check with that particular airline as to what are their requirements and what are their guidelines before you do anything. Okay, so these are the most up-to-date requirements as of the 1st of June. So if you're entering into the Netherlands as your final destination, and now they're accepting passengers from South Africa. So if you have an EU passport and you are entering the Netherlands, or you have any other passport, the Netherlands is now accepting people from South Africa. So it accepts Dutch nationals and residents. So residents, you may have a work permit or a study permit or a residence permit, maybe on a South African passport. So maybe you'd have one of those permits. And then nationals and residents of the EU and Schengen. So as long as you've got an EU or a Schengen passport with you, you can enter the Netherlands, no problem. However, as the EU travel ban is still in place, nationals from other countries like South Africa can only enter the Netherlands if they fall into one of the exemption categories. So again, please check on the klm.traveldoc, or please refer to the Dutch Embassy. On their website, they've got a whole bunch of links. You can click on them and say, I'm, a South African entering the Netherlands to go and visit their grandchildren. Is that permitted? And they've got a whole long list of people who are now permitted to enter and the criteria for entry. Again, please adhere to this before you purchase your ticket. It's important for you to inform yourself, to be aware what is going on. If you're transiting, so let's say you've purchased a ticket on KLM, Johannesburg, Amsterdam to Madrid in Spain. So if you're transiting Amsterdam and you're not stopping in Amsterdam and you're only in Amsterdam for an hour or maybe an hour and a half, transit from South Africa is now allowed. And again, the rule is your destination country determines the rules of entry. So whether it's the PCR test or the antigen test or whatever documentation, additional documentation is required, what we look at is what is your destination country. So if you're going to Spain and you're flying into Madrid, we don't look at what is going on in Amsterdam, we look at what is going on in Spain. What are the requirements? So please adhere to that, because you're just in transit and there's no need for a COVID test if you're transiting the Netherlands. And then when you are entering the Netherlands as a final destination, there are health and quarantine requirements that passengers have to adhere to. So you have to have a PCR test that is taken no more than 24 hours before boarding, or a negative PCR test no more than 72 hours before arrival. So you see there's a difference. If it's 24 hours, that's 24 hours before departure. If you take the test 72 hours, it's 72 hours before arrival. So when you go and get your test, you need to count, is it 72 hours when I get my results? Is it 72 hours before I arrive, or is it 72 hours before I board? Please be mindful of that. And you have to have a negative antigen test that has to be taken 24 hours before boarding. It's also very important. Those antigen tests, you usually get them, you can get them now at Discam, but you can also get them at the airport just before you board. And you have to complete a quarantine declaration form and a mandatory quarantine period for 10 days has to be done. And if you do another test within that 10 days, 5 days within that 10 days, and it shows negative, then you can shorten it and you'll be able to go about your business. It is all of our own responsibility to please double check and triple check what the requirements are when we are traveling to a certain country and what it is to transit via Amsterdam and Paris, depending on where you are going. Please double check. We're available at Air France-KLM to give you guidance, or whichever airline you're flying on, please check with them to make sure that you've got the correct information before proceeding. Next slide, Sean. Okay, And then into France, again, these are the most up-to-date rules and protocols as of the 9th of June 2021. Travelers departing from South Africa must complete a South African exit health screening form. So with France, it's slightly different than the Netherlands. There's a form that that you download from the South African government that you have to fill out to show that you've been screened and you are COVID negative and you've complied. The French government has revised the restrictions for travel into France. The flow of travel for travel has reopened according to the health situation in different countries and the vaccination of travelers. Again, the new buzzword is vaccinations, and I think all of us have been listening to the news every day about what is going on with vaccinations. A classification of countries has been defined based on health indicators. The list of countries can be adjusted dependent on where you're coming from. South Africa currently falls under the red list. So again, whether you're going via Amsterdam or via Paris, especially via Paris, please check, where is South Africa? Are we on the red list, the amber list, or the green list? And each list determines what the rules you need to adhere to. So be mindful. All passengers seeking to travel from South Africa to France as a final destination, regardless of their nationality. So whether you've got a South African passport, whether you've got a French passport or an EU passport, the below are the requirements. If you're vaccinated, you need to have a list of compelling reasons to travel. So if you're French, the only compelling reason is I'm going home, which is fair enough. If you are an EU citizen, well, I'm going to visit my aunt who lives in Paris. That is, and if that is permitted, then fair enough, you can go in. If you're a South African passport holder, please check. Are South Africans allowed to go in on holiday? Yes or no? Right now, as far as we know, South Africans just going in on holiday, not permitted. But you are permitted for work, for if you're a resident or you're a student or you have special circumstances. Maybe you're an athlete, you're a rugby player or a soccer player or an athlete of some sort. Those are the sort of exceptions that are given. And then tests to be presented and test presentation required at boarding. And this is for everybody from the age of 11 going up. You have to have a PCR test not older than 72 hours, plus an antigen test no more than 48 hours prior to departure, or you have a PCR test and which is no more than 48 hours prior to departure. So again, if you get it within 72 hours before your departure date, you have to accompany that with an antigen test. Or you can have your PCR test within 48 hours of departure and you don't need an antigen test. However, anybody over the age of 11 on arrival will require an antigen test, and you need to self-isolate for 7 days. Okay, if you're not vaccinated, so that's a whole bunch of us here in South Africa. So again, be mindful. Are you vaccinated? Are you not vaccinated? You need to take that into account. Again, what is the reason why you're entering? Are you a French national? Are you an EU national? Are you a South African? What are the reasons you need to justify? And again, go onto the French website, the French embassy website. You can see the exemptions, who is allowed, who isn't allowed. And again, PCR tests, the same as vaccinated people, 72 hours PCR test plus an antigen test 48 hours to departure. Or you just have a 48-hour PCR test, then you're fine. Again, on arrival, another antigen test. And if you are not vaccinated, your quarantine time is 10 days. And that is controlled by the health and safety officials of France. So again, go onto the French website. We'll send a copy of these links through on the recording. When you see the recording, please make note of these links that are on my presentation. Again, go onto the French embassy website. Click on them, go through it, and fill in whatever is required. It is your responsibility to check the local health requirements before you travel or transit. Next slide, Sean. Okay, so travel doc. So again, this is something that we have put on our Air France and our KLM website. I want to believe most carriers now have got this on their website. Please make use of it because it is a global website. We have one that is tailor-made for Air France-KLM, but from what I understand, other airlines have got something similar. So again, please check with them and check on their website what they have. Next slide. Okay, so on Air France, so those are the links there. So what you do when you go onto the Air France, you go on to manage my booking, you go, your trip, is it a return trip or a one-way or a transit? And then you fill in there from South Africa to Germany, or from South Africa to France, or from South Africa to wherever, your departure date or your return date. What sort of a passport do you have? Who issued, where was your passport issued, and the nationality and the date of expiry, all of that information. And there's a little tab there at the bottom for children. You click that if it's a child, and you click on that. And then once you press submit, it pops back up and it tells you, you've got a South African passport, you've got a work permit, you are permitted to enter if you fulfill these requirements. If you've got a holiday visa on a South African passport, it's a different story. If you have an EU passport, it will also advise you accordingly. So it's really, really good. And it's something that you guys can make use of to just familiarize yourself. Okay, next slide. Same thing with KLM. You fill in exactly the same information. If you've got a child that you're traveling with, click for a child and submit. It will pop back up and it will give you instructions of what is required to that destination and that transit point. This system, this travel doc system, our airport staff are using it. So when you get to the check-in desk, our airport staff, they take your passport, they fill in exactly the same information, and they read it back to you and say, you're not allowed to travel, or sure, no problem, enjoy your journey. So if you've done this due diligence prior to leaving the house and buying your ticket, you shouldn't have an issue. Next slide. Okay, so testing facilities here in South Africa. So for PCR and so at OR Tambo, which is the airport in Johannesburg, the PCR and antigen tests, there is a mobile testing station, which is at arrivals by the South African Police Service, in front of the South African Police Service. The rapid antigen test is at the Dis-Chem pharmacy, which is by the Security and Immigration Controls at Terminal A. Or maybe to put it more colloquially, it's when you're coming down the escalators from the How train, there's a little pharmacy at the bottom of the escalators that you see across the escalators from the How train. If you walk in there, that's the Dis-Chem pharmacy. If you go in there and you say, please, can I have a rapid PCR test and a rapid antigen test, they will do it for you. And then, you can always make arrangements for the payment. I don't know whether they take medical aid or not, but it's something that they will be able to advise you. At Cape Town International Airport, if somebody's leaving out of Cape Town, again, it's available at Dis-Chem, which is in the international arrivals, or at the airport clinic, which is available at the international arrivals. There is clear signage as to where you can find these places. And even at OR Tambo, if you're not sure, you can just ask the check-in guys. They'll be able to direct you and show you where the mobile testing station is. Okay, next slide. Okay, so as I've mentioned before, vaccines are now the buzzword. And with vaccine, you now need to prove that you've been vaccinated, because that is the only way we will be able to travel comfortably and normally without masks and social distancing and so on and so forth. So what is now being discussed by IATA, which is the mother body of all the airlines, and is being discussed globally, is an IATA travel pass. So which is basically, it's going to be an app on your phone where all your medical COVID information is going to be stored. So what is going to happen is this app will link up with maybe Lancet or Empath here in South Africa. So when you go for your PCR test and your antigen test, instead of getting a piece of paper, they will just upload all this information onto there. It's something that is going to happen. Currently, Air France has started the trials of the IATA Travel Pass on flights between New York, Montreal, and Barcelona and Charles de Gaulle. And it's going to be, so again, you download the app on your smartphone. It will check the latest COVID-19 related entry requirements for that country or destination. So it will be really easy. It will be on your phone. All you do is just say, I'm going here, I'm non-vaccinated. What is the story? What do I need to do? It will pop up and it will give you all this information. So it will be a lot easier for you to use. It's being tested out. So hopefully very soon we will have it here in South Africa. And even like I said, your results, once they've been done by whatever the lab is, whether it's Lancet or Empath, they will be able to just upload your information securely on that app. So no one else will have access to that, to your medical information. And when you get to the airport, all you do is you just show the check-in staff. I think it will be where you scan like that Shazam thing that you just scan, and then they'll scan it off and they'll be able to see COVID negative, able to travel, and off you go. So the IATA Travel Pass hopefully will bring in a lot more speed and efficiency to the checks performed at the airport. So all the waiting at the airport and all that confusion will be resolved. And the trial is free of charge for customers and are offered on a voluntary basis. And the trial period will end on the 15th of July. So this is something that Air France is really working towards. And we hope that, we get a whole bunch of people who try it out so we can fix whatever needs to be fixed, so that when we roll it out across the globe, across our network, and across all airlines, actually, everybody can use it, and you can use it comfortably without worrying about your information being being hijacked by hackers and all of that. So hopefully this will be sorted out soon, and we'll be able to travel without pieces of paper to show that you've got your negative and your PCR tests and your antigen tests and so on and so forth. Okay, next slide. Okay, so this is just a video of what we are doing on the Air France flight and the KLM flight. Okay. So, as usual, Zoom and these technological things don't always behave according to plan, but Sean is fixing it for us somewhere in the background there. Okay, here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I ask that you please all turn off your mics and keep it on mute? Thank you.
Are you coming all right, Sean?
Yes, it's getting there. What I decided to do is just unshare the slide so I can play it okay. Because
Okay,
it
cool.
doesn't seem
Thank
to be playing.
All right. Please bear with us. This is the life of Zoom and technology. Just when you think everything's working, it has a mind of its own.
Yeah, so I'll just play it now. I think it will play.
Okay. Thanks, Sean.
Should be playing.
Ladies and gentlemen, your patience will be appreciated. We've got the gremlins playing with us today, and I think we're almost ready to begin. Sean, thank you.
Nope. It's failing.
Okay. During the test run, it
Okay,
worked.
so
we move on, please?
Yeah, so let's just move on, yeah, because we don't want to keep people for too long, and we've got a whole bunch of questions that we would like to answer. So let's do that.
No worries.
Okay. So you want to go back a slide?
Should I try play this video instead?
Yeah, try. Oh, no, it's not very good, Sean. There's no volume, and it's going really fast. So even reading the subtitles, you can't.
Okay.
Okay, so let's just
I'll
go
just
on
move to the next slide.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe when we've uploaded it onto the cloud, you can always watch it in your own time. Okay. All right. So then the next slide is Flying Blue. So this is now very specific to Air France-KLM. Flying Blue is our frequent flyer program. So, we do appreciate that nobody has actually traveled since March 2020, and travel has been disrupted. So what we have done in support of our frequent flyer members is we are keeping your miles safe. So miles of Explorer members will not expire prior to 31 December 2021. So whatever miles you have in your account, they will remain as is. They will not expire, because we do appreciate that it's very difficult to travel at the moment. We maintain your status. The level of all our elite members with a qualification period between now and December 2021 are also maintained. Surplus XP, or which are your tier points, those are the points that you earn in order to move you from the entry level to the highest level. So those with the qualification period, we've been topping up those points for you between now and the 31st of December 2021, if it was lower than last year. Rebooking and cancellation policy for reward tickets. So if you use your air miles to purchase a ticket, again, due to the uncertainty surrounding travel at this period, we want to give you peace of mind and flexibility when making a booking using your air miles, because you've earned those air miles, you've spent a lot of money on Air France-KLM, you finally got enough miles. We're not going to punish you And for this reason, your reward tickets are completely changeable without a fee. So the changes are completely free and your miles are fully refundable. Okay, so if you've got an air miles ticket and you know it just isn't possible for you to travel at the moment for whatever reason, no questions asked, we will give you back, we'll refund you your miles, we'll put them back in your account. Or if you need to change your date, no problem, no questions asked, we'll change the date for you for a day where you're more comfortable to travel. Next slide. Okay, and then the next thing that is very important to us is the sustainability. Sorry, Sean, there's one for Flying Blue. There's a slide that's missing there, where I go through all the levels. You got that?
No, immediately after the measures taken for Flying Blue, it's the sustainability slide.
Okay, sure. All right, no problem. Okay, let's go on to that one then.
All righty.
Okay, so sustainability commitment. Something that, despite the world being upside down at the moment, something that Air France-KLM takes very seriously is our environment and the impact that we have on climate change and on our environment. And we're very committed to making a difference. And we want to reach a place where we have net zero CO2 emissions by 2020, and all flights within and departing from, and this is a policy that is across the EU. So you'll probably find if you're flying on any European carrier, this is now becoming standard. And one of the things that we at Air France-KLM are looking at and trying to implement is the use of sustainable air fuel. So in addition to efforts related to carbon footprint, noise hindrance, and air quality, we also place a focus on sustainable aviation fuel. The use of SAF, or sustainable aviation fuel, is one of the most impactful measures for reducing CO2 emissions. So instead of using Jet A1 fuel, we're trying to find other alternative environmentally friendly alternatives, forms of fuel. They will enable an 80 to 100% reduction over the entire life cycle for the most innovation technologies of the life cycle of the aircraft, for the most innovation technologies. Such fuels will be key to supporting the Air France-KLM Group's energy transition, but also that of aviation industry as a whole. So we take it very seriously. We want to also be responsible global citizens in reducing the impact on the environment that aircrafts bring with them. Our goal is to contribute to the establishment of a sustainable fuel industry for aviation. Both Air France and KLM have established innovative partnerships with corporate customers, suppliers, airports, and logistics partners. So if you go onto our website, we do have a tab there for sustainable aviation fuel called SAF. Whether you're a company, whether you're an individual, we do have measures in place for you to also help reduce your carbon footprint, to help also protect the environment along with us. So it's a collective effort from both the passengers and from us as the airline. So, if you have a chance, or if you need, more information, please feel free to just get in touch with us. We'll be more than happy to sit and just talk about how we can both work towards achieving this goal. Okay, next slide. Okay, so here's our schedule for Air France. Remember, with COVID-19, what we've all learned is today we have a family meeting and the president will say, we're now in lockdown level 5 or lockdown level 1, and we adjust our schedule according to what is going on. And remember, it's not just South Africa's lockdown measures that we have to take into consideration. It's also whatever the lockdown measures and whatever their travel restrictions are happening, whether it's in France or in Amsterdam or anywhere else across our network. So whether it's the UK or US or any city in Asia or Australia, we have to adhere to that. And with that, what we do is we adjust our schedules. So this schedule is for flights starting out of South Africa. So on Air France, this is the schedule as it is of now up until the 31st of October, subject to things remaining the same. We have a daily flight, except on a Wednesday, from Paris to Johannesburg. We have the AF 990, that's our flight number. It departs Paris time at 23:25 and arrives in Johannesburg the following morning at 10:05. And then again, it turns around every day except a Thursday from Johannesburg to Paris on the AF 995. It leaves at 18:50 and arrives at 5:45 in the morning in Paris. And then you can connect to your final destinations. Out of Johannesburg, we are operating the Boeing 777-300 aircraft, which has 296 seats. It has 4 La Première seats, which is our first class, 58 business class seats, 28 premium economy, and 206 economy class seats. And then out of Cape Town, again, also subject to change, things can happen. And this schedule only begins after on and after the 31st of October. So we have departures on Tuesdays, Fridays, and Sundays out of Paris. And that is the AF 864. It's a daylight flight. So you have to be there at 8 o'clock in the morning to check in, not at 8 o'clock at night. So be mindful. You leave Paris at 10:10 in the morning and arrive in Johannesburg at 22:30 the same day. And then on Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday, we depart from Cape Town at 00:35 hours. Now, remember, 00:35 hours doesn't mean you go to the airport at 12 midnight on Monday night. It means you go to the airport at 10:30 on Sunday night, or 10:30 on Tuesday night, or 10:30 on Saturday night. So you have to go a day before to catch the 00:35. A lot of people have been left behind because they say, oh, it's Monday at midnight on Monday. So they turn up at midnight of Tuesday morning at the airport and the aircraft has already gone. You need to be there on Sunday night if it's on Sunday, or on Tuesday night if it's on Tuesday, if it's the Wednesday flight, or on Friday night if it's the Saturday flight. So it leaves at 00:35 hours and arrives in Paris Charles de Gaulle Airport at 11:10 in the morning. Out of Cape Town, we will be operating the 787 Dreamliner. It has 276 seats on it. There is no first class out of Cape Town. It has 30 business class seats, 21 premium economy, and 225 economy class seats. Okay, next slide. Next slide, thanks. And then KLM, this is the schedule until the 31st of October, both for Cape Town and for Johannesburg. Out of Johannesburg, we have a daily flight except for Monday. This, again, it may be adjusted. The daily flights might resume after September, but these are the timings as we have them up until 31 October. Again, things can happen, things can change. We'll have another family meeting tonight and restrictions start all over again, and we have to adjust that. So out of Amsterdam, it's again a daylight flight. So you need to be there the morning of. So you need to be at Amsterdam airport by 8 o'clock in the morning. If you're coming from, say, Madrid, you actually have to leave Madrid at about 6 o'clock in the morning That's the time the flight leaves Madrid in order to connect onto that Amsterdam-Joburg flight that leaves at 10:35 and arrives in Joburg at 21:20. And coming back from Johannesburg, except for Wednesdays, the flight leaves at 23:10 and arrives in Amsterdam at 10:20. And I know you're looking at these times and you're saying right now we have curfew where no one is allowed on the road after 9 o'clock. We are well aware of that. And what we've been advised by the Airports Authority and the South African government is if somebody is traveling and it's outside the curfew hours, please, if you are stopped by the authorities, please present your ticket and boarding pass, and they will let you through without issue. So do not panic if you arrive at don't worry about catching the KLM flight to return back to South Africa, because you're thinking if curfew starts at 9 o'clock, if we only arrive at 9:20, by the time I've cleared customs immigration, gotten my bags, got to the other side, got to my car, it's already 11 o'clock, maybe even midnight, depending on, what's going on at the airport. So don't panic. As long as you can show them your boarding pass or a copy of your ticket, they will have no issue with that. They will let you through. Okay. And then out of Cape Town, the flights are Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays. Again, these may increase around September, but we're always mindful, we're always paying attention to what the South African authorities are saying to us, and then we adjust accordingly. Again, it's also a daylight flight, 10:05, arriving at 21:25, and the same rules apply for Cape Town. Please keep a copy of your boarding pass and of your ticket so that if the authorities see you on the road after curfew, as it is right now, you show them a copy of your ticket, they will let you through, you will have no issues. And then the return is also on a Monday, Thursday, Friday, and Sunday. It leaves at 23:10 and arrives in Amsterdam at 10:45. Out of Johannesburg, we're operating the Boeing 777-200 with 320 seats. KLM does not offer first class service. So we have 34 business class seats, 40 economy comfort seats, 246 economy class seats. And out of Cape Town, we also have the 777-300 with 408 seats. It has 34 business class seats, 40 economy comfort seats, and 334 economy class seats. Okay, next slide, Sean. Okay, and then booking with confidence. So this is something that we are mindful, we understand that right now things happen. And I'll say it again, by the time we're done this webinar, we'll probably all get a message on our phones to say there's another family meeting and things have changed. So we are mindful and we take that into consideration. So right now during COVID-19, our customers can cancel their trips and change their ticket without penalty or explanation. As long as we can guarantee the same price you paid, all we'll do, you can say, I can't travel on Monday, I can only travel on Friday. No problem, we will change it for you, no questions asked. If you feel uncomfortable and you don't want to travel, you can ask for a refundable credit voucher. So you just say, you know what, I've canceled my entire trip. I'm not sure when I want to go. Give me a voucher, let me hold on to it. I might travel at a later date. I might not travel at a later date, but just give me a voucher so that I can, while I make up my mind and figure things out. We're happy to do that. Again, no questions asked, no penalty. We will do that for you. Or you can just request for a refund. You know what? I'm uncomfortable. I'm not happy. I don't feel this is the right time for me to travel. Can I have my money back? Full refund, no questions asked, no explanation. We will refund you your money. Okay. And then, of course, if there is involuntary cancellation, that's if we as Air France-KLM have canceled the flight for whatever reason, customers will be either rebooked. If you have to travel, we will rebook you onto an alternative airline or flight at no cost to you. And again, you can request for a refund or you can receive a credit voucher, which is also refundable if you don't want to make use of it. Okay, next slide. Okay, so I'll just run through quickly because we're running out of time now. So I'll just run through quickly the cabins that we operate on the different flights. So if you are flying on Air France, La Première is our first class service. You have your own little cubby hole. It's private. It's, you know, it's made just for you, and it's only 4 seats available in first class, and you've got full privacy. You've got a curtain. You can just close the curtain when you don't want, when you want to sleep, or you just want, you know, some peace and quiet where nobody disturbs you. Even the cabin crew will not disturb you if they see that curtain closed. Business class, all our business class configuration is the fish bones. So if you can imagine a fish bones are all like that. So everybody is looking outward. So nobody is breathing over you. So this is the sort of configuration of our seats on the aircraft. Premium economy is a hybrid of economy class and the very, very old business class. It's a smaller, more intimate cabin that we have. And then we just have regular economy class. Okay, next slide, Sean. Okay, and then KLM, they don't have first class. So you only have business class. Again, our business class, the way the seats are configured is fishbone, where you all are facing outward and nobody is breathing over you, again, for your safety and for your comfort. And we also offer these little Dutch houses. These are collectible items. There's a lot of people out there who love to collect these, and we go through them, and people can collect them, and they're usually given just before the flight lands. So the cabin crew comes through the cabin in business class, and if you want one, you can have one free of charge, no questions asked. And then we have what is called economy comfort. So this is still economy. So you can purchase a normal economy class ticket. And these are the first 5 rows in economy. So what you do is you purchase an economy class ticket, and then you can say to your agent, or you can book for yourself online for an economy class seat, for an economy comfort seat. They do come at a cost. So be mindful when you are selecting them, they will come at a cost, and you pay a little bit extra for those first 5 rows. Those first 5 rows, there's a lot more leg room. You are able to recline your seat a little bit better, and those seats are immediately behind business class. And then, of course, you have normal economy class seats. Okay, next slide, Sean. Okay, this is the slide I was looking for. Okay, so this is just a quick recap of our Flying Blue program, which is our loyalty program. Yeah, next slide. Okay, so we have 4 tiers on our frequent flyer program. So the first tier is Explorer. So when you first register yourself, that is the entry level. You will earn 4 miles per euro spent. Your miles don't expire if you have one activity every 2 years. So if you fly once every 2 years, your miles will remain there. You get up to a 10 euro discount for the first paid checked bag item immediately. So you've got your bag that is on your ticket, and if you need an extra bag, you get a 10 euro discount. And if you want to request a particular seating option, like the economy comfort or any other seat that comes with a cost, you get a 10% discount on that seating option. Silver is the next tier, and you earn 6 miles per euro spent, and you get sky priority at check-in and baggage drop-off and boarding. Again, and the good thing about silver, you get 1 free checked bag. So you have the bag that you already have on your ticket, plus an additional one for free. And then gold is the next tier. You earn 7 miles per euro. Your miles don't expire. You get sky priority. Again, you have you have your bag on your ticket, plus an extra bag for free. And this also applies to the Virgin, and you also have access to our Sky team and the Virgin lounge, where you can bring in one guest and you get a 50% discount for seating. Platinum, that is our top tier. You earn 8 miles per euro spent. Miles don't expire. Sky Priority, one free checked bag item on Sky team, and you have access to the Virgin lounge access with a guest, and you get free seating. And additionally, you have a dedicated 0800 number, which is open 24/7 wherever you are in the world. If you have any issues, you just dial that number. There will be an Air France-KLM person that will pick up the phone and assist you, because you are now the top tier. Okay, next slide. And then BlueBiz. BlueBiz is our corporate loyalty program. So if you're a corporate and you want to make, go on to the next slide, Sean. Yeah. So it's our corporate loyalty program for Air France, KLM, Delta, and Virgin Atlantic. So Delta goes to the US, Virgin Atlantic comes from the UK. Free to join. It is for the company. So there is Olivia. I'm the individual who's traveling, but I work for Air France-KLM, or I work for the Spanish Chamber, or whatever company I work for. And if I work for the Spanish Chamber can register onto the BlueBiz program. So each time an employee of the company travels, they earn blue credits, okay, on either Air France-KLM, Delta, or Virgin. And the blue credits can be used for free tickets, upgrades, or any other paid option, or maybe for baggage. And passengers can earn blue credits and flying blue. So if Olivia, the individual, works for the Spanish Chamber, I can have my own frequent flyer membership and I will earn my miles. And at the same time, my company, the Spanish Chamber, can also earn miles because they've purchased my ticket for me. So it's a double whammy, both the individual and the company benefit. Next slide, Sean. Eligibility and enrollment. You have to be an SME company, and SME company can be one person or it can be 100 people. And the companies and here in Africa, it's available for companies in South Africa, Botswana, Namibia, Mozambique, and Zimbabwe. All of those companies can enroll. Companies cannot hold a corporate account and a BlueBiz account. So what we have is discounts that we give. There are some companies that are really, really big. And what they don't want credits. They actually want an upfront discount on the fare. So they'll say, you know what, we don't want to earn credits and all of that. We would rather just have an upfront discount. So if a fare is 1,000 Rand, give us a 15% discount. So we pay 850. But if you're a small company and you don't have that many people traveling, and BlueBiz is something that benefits you, so that's why we define it as an SME company, where you actually will benefit if every time you earn miles, every time you purchase a ticket, you earn credits for the company, and then you earn individual air miles. No travel affiliated companies, and enrollment can be done on bluebiz.com/enroll, or you can get hold of us at Air France-KLM, and we're more than happy to assist you. Next slide, Sean. So blue credits. So companies can earn blue credits for every flight on Air France-KLM, Kenya Airways, Delta, Virgin, and our partner airlines. So one blue credit is equal to 1 Rand. So blue credits are like cash used to purchase tickets, including taxes, upgrades, or baggage, or seats, or meals. Blue credits are valid for travel in which they are earned plus 2 more years. Okay, next slide. Okay, so the way blue credits work. So if you are purchasing a ticket on Air France, KLM, Delta, Virgin, or Kenya Airways, for every Rand that you spend on your ticket, it equates to 1 credit. So there you are, there's a little example there. So an air ticket costs 8,000 Rand plus 2,000 fuel surcharge plus 1,500 in taxes. Your total cost of your ticket is 11,500. Therefore, the Spanish Chamber as the company will earn 11,500 blue credits. And on Air France and KLM, blue credits can be used for upgrades, extra bag, seating, a la carte meals for Air France. So it's really, really helpful. So the company gets their money back. So every time you buy a ticket, the company gets credits for whatever the value of the ticket is. And also myself as an individual, I will earn air miles. Okay, next slide. And what are the benefits of becoming a Blue Biz member? First of all, you have flexibility. The more flexibility and choice for corporate businesses. These days, because things are changing so much, you as a business person, you need the flexibility. You need to be able to have time to think about, is this meeting going to take place or is this meeting not going to take place? So maybe you're invited to a conference. You need all the confirmation to come through. So if you need time to purchase the ticket, instead of being told, book the ticket now and purchase it immediately, if you're a member of Blue Biz, you're given a little bit of extra time to actually make that final decision, to sort things out in the background, and to be sure that when you purchase the ticket, you're purchasing it within the, for the right reason. A free name change. So Olivia has been sent by the Spanish Chamber to Madrid to attend a conference. Then perhaps her puppy ran away the morning of the flight. All Olivia has to do is phone Manuela and say, Manuela, I'm so sorry. My puppy ran away last night. I can't travel. I'm too distraught. Please, can you go for the conference on my behalf? Air France-KLM, no problem, no questions asked. They will change from Olivia to Manuela. And also you have guaranteed access in economy class on long-haul flights in Y class only. So what that means is if the flight is full and you absolutely have to be on the flight, there's always there's always an economy class seat available for you. We can always guarantee that for you. Priority, delivering benefits to enhance the corporate traveler's experience. Priority at zonal boarding. So we're mainly doing this, especially out of Europe, where if the check-in staff see your Blue Biz number in your booking, you get your own boarding queue. So you're not just standing with everybody. So the check-in staff recognize you and give you priority at boarding. Priority service recovery against denied boarding, priority rebooking during irregular operations. So maybe the flight is canceled, there's been a storm, or something has happened, or the flight is canceled for whatever reason. If they see that Blue Biz number in your booking, our staff will reach out to you and say, Olivia, sorry, this is what's happened. Would you like us to put you on another flight a little bit later, or can we rebook you or whatever? They will make sure that I am looked after. And also you have priority of waiting list. So even if the flight is fully booked, what will happen is as soon as the first seat becomes available, it will go to you as the Blue Biz member. Recognition, recognizing corporate travelers throughout their journey, recognizing within our system when traveling on Air France, KLM, HOP, and Delta. So all of those carriers that are part of us, whether you're on Delta and you are in Nebraska in the US, the Delta staff will see that number and they will recognize you, including the crew. And recognition by our ground staff at all the check-in agents, at all the check-in points at any airport. We will look after you. And servicing, there is a Blue Biz service center. So if you have any issues and any queries, there is a dedicated number where you don't have to sit on a call center where you spend hours on end. There's a dedicated number where you can just call and they'll sort out whatever your issues are. Okay, next slide, sure. Okay, so finally, The double benefits with Blue Biz and Flying Blue. So I've said this already. Employees earn Blue Biz credits for their company, as well as Flying Blue miles for their personal account on the same ticket. So if the Spanish Chamber has purchased a ticket for me to attend a conference in Madrid, the Spanish Chamber will earn Blue credits as the Spanish Chamber, the company, and I can earn my own individual miles as Olivia. Ensure all passengers with a company Blue Biz account are enrolled in Flying Blue to enjoy the double benefits. So it only benefits everybody within the company. The company earns their credits, and I, as the individual, earn the miles. And both the Flying Blue number and Blue Biz numbers must be inserted in the reservation. Okay, all righty. I think we're starting to run out of time. So don't worry about the video. We'll just put that on the cloud. So let me just go through some remarks because we've got like 10 minutes left. Okay, so I'm just going to go through some remarks that I see here in the chat. So there's, and I beg your pardon if I mispronounce your name. So I've got Heike Braun here. I just wanted to say that I flew on Air France-KLM to Germany via Amsterdam in March, together with my son. We were visiting family in Germany, and we were infected with COVID-19 whilst we were there. Oh, I hope you're feeling better. We ended up staying almost 5 weeks, oh my goodness, instead of the 2 weeks that we had planned. KLM Air France was absolutely fantastic. We had to reschedule our flights 2 times, and both times only took 5 minutes on the phone. I'm glad you were assisted. We did not have to pay anything extra. Good. There were no uncertainties, no delays. It could not have been better. I'm very thankful to the airlines, and if I have any choice, Air France-KLM are my default carrier. Thank you, Heike. We appreciate that, and hopefully we will continue to see you on our flights, and we'll continue to service you like that. And then there's another one here from you again. What is your...
let me help you with it, Olivia. What's actually happened is a very important question that came up that spoke about the efficiency, okay, of the testing stations at the airport. So what is going to be important is, you know, are they efficient? What's the cost? Will it be accepted?
Yeah, because I can see here there's one from Heike who says that she asks also about the testing. We have no control over the testing, unfortunately. What we can do is we can just give you information from what we have found out, from what we have learned as through experience from people like yourself who give us feedback. A PCR test is plus or minus 850 Rand at the airport or at these private labs. So you're looking at approximately 1,000 Rand for a PCR test and an additional 500, maybe 600 Rand for the antigen test. Okay, but those are managed by the health authorities of the country. So the South African Department of Health, they're the ones who manage that. If you do a test at the airport with the mobile clinic, they do that. If you go to Dis-Chem, you have to ask them, can I use my medical aid? I'm on this medical aid or on that medical aid. Find out from them if they're willing to take your medical aid, so that because from what we've been made to understand, most medical aid companies are allowing you to have, I think, 3 or 4 COVID tests per annum for free, but double check with your medical health provider, your medical insurance provider, please, before you make a decision, and also check with your local Dis-Chem. If you go to any of your Dis-Chem that's near you, just find out, I'm on this medical aid, what is the cost if I need a COVID test? And they will advise you. It's the same thing with the vaccine. What is the cost of a vaccine? Find out from your medical aid, find out from your local pharmacy if they accept medical aid as form of payment, or do you pay upfront, then claim from your medical aid? That is something that you have to go through to your medical aid companies, providers, and get clarity and information before moving forward. Okay,
Wonderful.
because we can't control that.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. The next question is from Eve. If disembarkation is delayed due to smaller group exiting the aircraft, have the minimum connection times at Paris and Amsterdam airports been adjusted?
So, because we are adhering to social distancing and we are managing the amount of people who disembark, again, what usually happens is if you have a short connection, so usually the standard connecting time between international flights is 90 minutes, irrespective of COVID or whatever. That is the minimum connecting time. So if you are flying Paris to Geneva, that is an international flight. So the minimum connecting time between Paris and Geneva should be 90 minutes. So it is incumbent for you, if for whatever reason your travel agent gives you less than 90 minutes, all you have to do is just alert one of the cabin crew. Even if you're sitting at the very back, alert one of the cabin crew and say, listen, I've only got an hour to connect onto my flight to Geneva or to wherever I'm going. Please, can I be rushed to the front of the flight? Our cabin crew are more than happy to assist you. But otherwise, that 90 minutes is enough time, where we let everybody out. They do have a system down in place to say, okay, so row 1 to 5, out you go. 6 to 10, out you go, so on and so forth. We try to be as efficient as we possibly can, and that 90 minutes is enough time. However, things do happen. The flight from South Africa may be delayed, arriving in Amsterdam or Paris. Again, what will happen is the crew will alert all the connecting flights to say, we've got passengers to Geneva, passengers to London, passengers to Madrid. Please, can you wait for them? And usually they make that arrangement and they will wait for you. But if you haven't made that, if that arrangement hasn't been made, or it's because of the way your ticket was issued by your travel agent, just alert the cabin crew. It solves everything.
Thank you, Olivia. Eve was saying she understands that. What she means is if the airport officials' connecting times have been adjusted now due to obviously COVID and the way COVID is making everything happen.
I don't think especially now with flights fully coming back on board, no, the airport authorities haven't really changed the way they do things. However, they have a lot more staff on the ground to assist you. So instead of there being a long queue with one person dealing with 100 people, you'll probably find there'll probably be like 10 staff on the ground doing the checks. So they'll have more cubicles open for immigration and more cubicles open for the health authorities, so that, because they know usually on a Monday around 10 o'clock, that's when we have this whole influx of flights. So they know when there is a lot of flights coming in, and then what they do is they send out a lot of their staff to man all the stations in order to efficiently clear you through immigration and health. That's what would happen.
Thank you so much, Olivia. Okay, that was the last of our questions. So, Olivia, thank you very much for taking us through this presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, I do invite you to connect with Air France-KLM if you have any other questions. We will be now sharing this presentation and the recording with you, and you will get it in the next couple of days. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for attending. Air France-KLM, thank you for today. Please, I ask all of you to keep well, keep safe, and we will see you all soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.